Hey, Wilson Morales, Black Film and TV. Joseph, have we seen the last of Tommy? Does he have 9 lives? You know, the Vegas odds keep losing because you're still alive.
Yeah, man. I don't know that I don't want to lead the fans on that Tommy makes it out of season three, or that he doesn't, but that it's a super exciting season, and people's lives are on the line. And in classic Power fashion, we are going to start with an earthquake and build from there.
Isaac, you've built up a following so that we care about Diamond. We hope he doesn't go out, but it's never in your control. But how much fun have you had being on a series?
This has been amazing, amazing journey, man. I mean, we're talking about power, the power universe. I used to run home and go to the watch parties or DVR power, and I was just always been a fan. So to be a part of this, it's just been an amazing journey, and it's a testimony to the work that I've continued to try to put in to get to this point, but then also by the grace of the God to be able to be on set and be on this role. And then have a great room, a writer's room from Gary Lennon and everybody involved that see the character and want more for the character. And along with all these other amazing characters that are played on this show, I'm just trying to bring value into what that character is and bring the truth and relatability and humanity into it.
What makes Tommy trust Diamond so much that, he needs one player he can work with as opposed to everybody else?
Well, I think it's been a lot of fun carrying this show with Isaac, and I think that in a lot of ways there's a hearkening back to the Tommy and Ghost relationship here. That there's so many similarities, and yet they're just dancing to a slightly different tune. I think that Tommy would like to. He sees a lot of brotherhood in Diamond, but I think that Diamond's brotherhood lies within his own brother. And I think that Tommy is smart enough to step away, observe this, and I think Tommy enjoys hating Jenard as much as he hates Jenard. I think he actually truly dislikes him. Jenard is played by the wonderful and endlessly watchable Chris Lofton, who brings such great nuance and just determination and full commitment to that character that I love watching him on screen. That I love the dynamic between Tommy and Jenard as much as I love the dynamic between Diamond and Jenard because it's so polar opposite of it. So I've just really had an incredible time with Isaac on this show for the series and every season. And I think that we can really say in season three, it is a fight for survival.
I tell everybody else, if your last name is not St. Patrick or Egan, your name's high on the Vegas list as to which episode you're gonna go out. And if you go out like Julio, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
if you go out like Julio. I love
go
that.
out. Julio had a memorable scene. Even
Mhm.
Gary said it like, oh, no, no, no. You can't just get shot in the head. Everybody gets that. You got if you have to go out, and if you have to go out, you talk to the writer, goes, nah, y'all gotta punch this up. You say you gotta punch it up. But either way, obviously for you, Isaac, why does Diamond not trust Jenard so much, considering Jenard was holding the fort while he was in jail?
Yeah, it's hard to go into in depth in how he was holding the fort. I mean, CBI was still thriving and was still doing well, and when he came out, but I mean, it's his brother, and it's not that he necessarily trusts him; he just has to take care of him. It's that I feel like it's just that that scene with his father when his father told him that how I need you to watch over your brother because he's not as strong as you, and I resented you, Diamond, because you were too strong, and I saw that in you. And so now Diamond has to take on this responsibility when he might have before that might have relinquished the relationship with him. But now that his father is in this time and not knowing what's going on, but can see it on his deathbed, says, "Hey, you need to take care of your brother." And for Diamond to be able to take that, internalize it, and then when his brother comes, basically say the line, "I got you." When somebody tells you that I got you, that's like a security blanket that's thrown over you. That's like a big hug. That makes you feel like, okay, we good without saying all of the other things because they're not going to get that into all that emotional aspect. So I think he just trusts because it's his brother and family are the first people that will bring you down or lift you up.
But Wilson, let's just give a little bit of accolades to those two actors of Isaac Keys and
Yeah.
Chris Lofton, because when that was uttered, "I got you," I believed it. And you know who I never believe when they say "I got you"? People I don't believe. When people say "I got you," that means I don't got you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was an important scene. I loved that scene.
Nice.
Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure watching this show. Tommy, I'm sure hopefully we'll see you narrate the new show. You know what I'm saying? We
Hey, that's
need
a
that.
great idea, Stars. We
You
hear that?
say we need that voice. Anybody else, we're not gonna buy it. You say we
Oh,
need
I'm
that
just
voice. So
saying, Wilson's been around since the beginning, Isaac. So,
yeah,
so he's got
yep.
my back. But
I
I
got it. As he
say
should. As he
we need the
should.
voice.
Yeah.
Only you can probably convince others to come back along. But I'll leave it at that. We'll talk down the road on your other projects. Have a good one.
all right, peace, Wilson.
Thank you.
Wilson Miles from Black Women TV. Hello, folks. How's it going?
What's going on, Wilson?
Hi.
Hey, whenever I watch the show, every episode is about who controls the conversation. 'Cause obviously there's always a lot of mistrust issues going on. So what keeps Jenard sane enough to trust his brother and trust Shanti? Because we don't know who's gonna come up against him at any time.
What keeps me trusting them?
Yeah,
I think I think that there's like a blind trust sometimes, especially with Shanti. Between Jenard and Shanti, there's like a blind trust, and I think that's the purest form of trust that there is. To blindly trust somebody to walk into that dark room, that dark space, is a highest form of love and trust that there is, I think. And I think with Jenard, that's how he is with Shanti. But with his brother, I think that what makes him trust his brother, trust Diamond more, is the fact that he knows that without Diamond, he can't get back inserted into CBI at the capacity that he wants to. So I think it's conditional trust with Diamond. It's like, all right, I'm going to trust you until you give me this meeting. I'm going to trust you until you tell me where we get this from. I'm going to trust you until you tell Tommy that, so it's conditional trust, but blind trust with him and Shanti.
and then with Shanti, why is she so power hungry to be on top of everybody else instead of sharing a piece of the pie?
Shanti comes from a place of, I've got to get mine because no one else is going to get it for me. So in her mind, like, there is no middle ground. It's all or nothing. Everything for her is all or nothing. And she's bringing Jenard on for the ride, but with her, it's all or nothing. And for her, I believe that failure is death. So she just has to keep going and keep going. She is the only one left. She doesn't have any family. It's just her. And she's been surviving for a long time. So that's all she knows.
Look at that. Well said.
Thank you.
Well, you've been on this show, and each of you have had different projects, but what are you learning? Because the show has different directors throughout the episodes, but what are you learning skill set wise as actors moving forward to whatever you may do next? Kris?
For me, I'm learning the true responsibility of being a series regular. They always say, be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. Being a series regular, outside of just like, you don't realize how important that is in the actual work that comes with it. We're doing 10, 11 days an episode, 12 to 16-hour days, and you got to be on top of it. And it's more than just what meets the eye. It's more than what's on the page. There's more to being an actor than what's on the page. It's things like this. Like, this is the part that I was never privy to because I wasn't like the main character on the show. I was not privy to these press junkets and things like this. So you learn that it's deeper than just the acting. The acting is the surface. Like, it's the being the good person. It's the showing up, remembering the crew members' names and stuff about their kids and their dogs' names, and showing up to the kids' birthday parties and still going home and remembering those lines and showing up on time and not being late and not ending up on TMZ or in the tabloids, and truly being a good steward over what God has given us. Because this is a great opportunity, bro. People would die to be in this position to have this job. I was one of those people. So to truly be a good steward, it just teaches you how to do that more, and that it's more that comes to it with just booking the job.
What's that, Adrienne?
Absolutely. Kris, I love that. I love that response. I think, for me, it's just about protecting the energy in the space. What I've learned so much with us having different directors is just watching them and seeing how they protect the energy on set, because there's so much going on. You've got people working on lighting, you've got people working on props, you've got people running around everywhere, and everyone has a job that's just so important. And you can get lost in the shuffle while you're preparing for the camera to be on and for you to be working. And I come from a theater background where you have a whole rehearsal process and it's very comfortable, and then you get to feel your character for a little while, and then you get to play it every night and season it. But with TV and film, you need to do it. You need to know what your character is doing, what their motivation is, and that's it. And you just it's been really helpful to have this opportunity to get to do a series regular, which is such a blessing, like Kris said, and to get a taste of what it's like to protect and hone that character a little more quickly than what I'm used to.
Congrats on this season. All I can say is stay alive, to at least to the very end, so we can cheer for you. Keep my odds in Vegas going, and we'll talk down the road.
What's the over under on Jenard, Wilson?
Episode 8, maybe.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Wilson Morales from Black Family TV. Hello, folks. How's it going?
Hey, Wilson, how
Hey,
you doing?
Wilson.
What keeps this brother-sister relationship intact without going off the rails? Carmela?
I think both Miguel and Mireya take the word family very seriously. I think that's part of their culture. And I love seeing that tested. And I think it's going to be tested in a completely new way this season. So you got to watch to find out what that means.
Manuel, what keeps the relationship from Miguel knowing what Maria's doing, but what keeps him from staying, from going crazy?
Well, I don't think it keeps him from going crazy. He already did by the episode 10. So I think you need to find out by watching to see if he continues to be crazy or he is going to come to men's and say, okay, you can be with Tommy.
You know, when you watch the show, I always tell everybody that if your last name if your last name is not St. Patrick or Egan, the odds are in Vegas as far as what episode are you guys going to go out, or is it going to be memorable? It's like Miguel, we don't know. He's either he's going to be a survivor or he's not. So when hopefully if you stay alive, but if you know when you got on the show that if you had to go out, did you envision how do you go out, or do you pray that you're at the end of the page when you read the script?
I just want to go out like a gangster. Don't give me a sissy's dead. And don't
You
make me
know,
beg for my life. That's all I ask for.
hey, all we just need is for you to have a
I
tattoo
want to die
here.
on my feet, not on my knees.
When you do a show like this, obviously you guys have done other projects, but you're working with different directors. What part or skills of your skill set as actors do you think you've improved on? Carmela?
That's a great question. We had directors that really challenged us in every moment. I would take one scene somewhere really small and then they'd come in and say, no, take it up 10 dials. And so my skill set of having to, change on a dime was really tested here. And I respect all of our directors for that. They did not go easy on us.
Manuel?
I would say the same thing. Listening and taking directions is something that I think we all improve on if we truly love our craft. Being egotistic is not it's has no room on set. So I would say taking directions.
Is it fun to be ruthless, Manuel? When you have those scenes and you got to take somebody out and you're showing everybody else the power you have, because every episode, is about who's in control of the episode, who's in control of the conversation.
Oh, you're damn skippy. It is. I get to be someone that I'm not in real life. So just to have that power to get into that character, to get lost and take it to Tommy, it's an honor.
And then when it comes to Carmela, she knows because of her brother the lifestyle that he lives, and yet she still chooses to be with Tommy, knowing that any given moment, not a day, but a moment, something can go off, that affects her lifestyle.
I think that's what her true love for him is.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Manny. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to say that is why he doesn't want her with him, because he knows who he is. And like I told the previous lady, he sees Tommy and he's looking in the mirror. So all he's doing is just looking out for her. He doesn't mind her with the doctor, but even him, if he hurts her, there's consequences and repercussions to that.
All we can say is stay alive, keep it going, keep my odds going. I got the bets out
From
there.
your lips to God's ears, Wilson.
Stay alive and keep it going. It's been fun talking to you guys. I'm sure I'll see you down the road in other projects, so we'll talk later.
Thanks for everything, Wilson. Thanks for having us.
Bye. Wilson Morales from Black Family TV. Hello, Lili. How's it going?
Good. How are you, Wilson?
Good. What makes Claudia still have 9 lives?
She's a cat.
You know,
Yeah.
at some point, there was a tide when the audience is like, she gotta go. But every episode goes by, it goes, okay, she's still out there. She's beating the Vegas odds. There's always an odds. If your last name is not St. Patrick or Egan, the question is, what season or episode does she go out?
Right.
You know, but what is Claudia's quest for power? Why can't she just let it go? But she still strives to be on top of everybody else.
That's a great question. I think that she always knew that she should have taken the place of her father. She grew up with that. Her father wanted her to have the knowledge of it. She was, doing the books, not allowed to go out on the streets, but she knew what she was meant for. And as you see her struggle through the few seasons of finding power, losing it, whatever, she's so motivated to win. And now she's got revenge.
But does she have any loyalty? You know, everybody in there, Tommy, at least he can be vulnerable to his family. Claudia already established, like, Vic is not family.
Yeah. I think she still sees Vic as family. I think, she, blood is thicker than water. And yet, you're right, she doesn't really have loyalty other than to herself. But I think what she really wants is that as soon as she would get respect and recognition, the loyalty would start to creep in. But she's just fighting for herself right now. She's got to.
You know, the thing I ask most actors is, like, when you do a show like this, you've worked with different directors, which means you show different ranges. So when you leave this show, eventually, because this is the last season, whatever you do next, is it going to be a challenge for you not to do something that we've seen you do before? The persona, like, she can't play another badass because that's just Claudia Light.
Oh, I mean, it depends. It depends on the character, really. I love playing a badass. I wouldn't mind doing it again.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think I really love working on a decent backstory. And Claudia's is very long. But yeah, it depends on the director. It depends on the script. But yeah, who knows?
What did you think you learned from your time on the show? What did you learn skill set wise as an actress moving forward? Like, I'm sure, like I said, you work with different directors. Everybody wants you to do something different.
Yeah.
What's your takeaway?
I think I really found my voice in Power, like not the show, but like her power in myself. Because I've played, I've played femme fatales a bit and whatever, but Claudia is just really, she has this power within her that I try and bring with myself now today. So I definitely feel like I learned how to step into those shoes, and if a character comes along who needs that power, I know how to do it.
Mhm. So in this battle of vengeance, because Tommy still wants his vengeance and Claudia wants hers, all we can say is let's see how long you survive. But either way, you gave one hell of a performance. So congrats on the season. We'll talk down the road on whatever project it may be. Take care.
Thank you, Wilson.
Bye. Wilson Morales from Black Women TV. Hello, folks. How's it going?
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Shane, you have 9 lives so far.
Hey, right,
You
I
know,
know, right?
whenever anybody's in this series, there's always a line in Vegas to see, okay, what episode do they go out, and do they go out peacefully, or do they go out memorably? We don't know what's going
Yeah.
to happen with your characters so far. How much fun are you having staying alive?
Oh, yeah, no, it's great. I mean, when they introduced that storyline last season, I just had such a good time with it, and the way that they kept it going this season. Obviously, no spoilers for the fans, but everyone, is anxiously waiting to see if Vic actually makes it through episode 1 or 2. Because we left him, it seemed like things were going to go so hot. So we'll see, but it's a lot of fun.
Aaron, why is Tommy the white whale for your character?
Oh gosh, Tommy. He's a challenging individual. He makes my job extremely difficult. But because of him, I have a job, which is great. So, he keeps things spicy. He keeps it elevated. And so it just gives me an opportunity to just go, go, go. He keeps me on definitely, like ready to go at all times.
between your characters, it's sort of like, okay, Shane, you're playing double agent, triple agent. At what point where does your loyalty lie?
Yeah,
there's got to be a ground somewhere. Okay, he's got to be true to himself.
yeah, he's flipped all over. He's going back and forth. Sometimes I have to try to keep track. I'm like, wait, who am I aligning with right now? Because it's he's playing both sides, and it's honestly a lot of fun. I mean, for me, it's just really entertaining because I get to engage with with Miriam's character, with Joseph's character in these ways that are like, it's dynamic, it's fun, it keeps me very entertained as an actor. Having to like do the juggling act. But it's great.
Miriam, I think about the lines you say in the show, and like, it must be fun the way they give you the lines. One minute, you're talking to your team. Next minute, you're being brutal with Shane's character in terms of trying to, make sure he does his job, and then you go after Tommy. Do you ad lib, or you just like they did a good job with the lines?
They do an excellent job with the line. Shout out to Kendra, who's one of the top writers on the show. They have embraced, I feel like, the energy and ideas that we bring to the table, but they're pretty much on it in terms of lines. I didn't really have to add them much. I mean, maybe a word here or there, but I would have to check in first, to make sure that they approve. But we were definitely in sync in terms of the lines, and I love saying every single one of Stacey Mark's lines.
You've had different projects, but when you do a show like this, obviously, playing the same character, but you're working, but there's always different directors.
Yeah.
What part of your skill set as actors do you think you've improved on?
I'll go first if you don't mind, Shane.
Please, after.
Yeah, I think the talking and the listening aspect is huge for me. Sometimes when we get a script as actors, you're looking and you're like, my line, my line, my line, sort of a thing. But for this, I really wanted to make sure that I was cued into what my partners were saying in those scenes, what affected me in order to say the lines that I was saying. So it became more about like, oh, why is she responding this way, as opposed to, oh, I'm just speaking this particular, piece of text. So I would have to say, yeah, the talking and the listening for sure.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I haven't had an opportunity to take a character through 3 seasons yet in my career. It's been a first for me, which has been a real treat. So learning how to bring a new arc or a new flavor through each season and keep things interesting and engaging and keep that character development. But really, again, you have to shout out the writers because we're hitting our marks, trying to find our light and saying the words
Exactly.
the right, right? And what they've done, bringing our characters into these great big arcs, has been so much fun. So, yeah, they make it easy, to be honest.
Yeah, and I got to say, working with Shane, I mean, it was great. He's the best scene partner for sure.
Oh, we have the best time on set together. I love it when I get a day with Stacey Mark.
Congrats on the season. Stay alive. We'll talk down the road. Have a good one.
Thank you, you too.